Welcome to Ziggy Golf, where it's our job to be your betting caddy. For this week, we're going to be seeing a huge purse in a small field at Kapalua Resort, the Plantation Course. It's the same beautiful Hawaii resort course that's always hosts the Sentry. Years ago, this event only welcomed the winners from the previous year, but now we will see all of the winners plus the next X-ranked guys to get to a field of 60. So the old moniker Tournament of Champions has logically been dropped. Scotty Scheffler was going to be in the field, but had to withdraw after a hand injury on Christmas. He'll be fine long term, but we won't find as good of odds as we would have with Scotty in the field. On the other hand, we might be able to actually pick a winner without Scotty here to win by 4 strokes. So let's talk about what stats to value at this course. Kapalua is a very long, massively wide course. On first glance, you'd see the yardage and think that distance must matter a ton. However, it's actually not been a differentiator in the past. The reason is that this is originally a resort course built for memorable views more than challenging shots. Many tee boxes are elevated and fairways have similar rollout spots, so whether you carry 285 or 315, balls are rolling out to the same spots, regardless. With the width, accuracy hardly matters off the tee. From an approach point of view, we see a focus on 2 proximity ranges, 200 plus and 100 to 150 yards. So basically, we are asking for wedge play and longer irons more than the middle of the bag. For a comparison, the most common range on the average PGA event is 150 to 175 yards, so just a bit noteworthy of a difference. We'll be thinking about wedge play leading to scoring opportunities when considering who we should back this week. Scoring goes very low here, like record-setting low. With that, we want to highlight guys comfortable piling up birdies. With low-scoring courses, we normally expect around the green to be devalued. At Kapalua, it has been fairly predictive, though. The reason is that the amount of short par 4s or semi-reachable par 5s, they lead to some distances that will fall much more into around the green than short approach. It's not as important as the approach stats in our mind, but certainly worth more than the low winning score would imply. Greens are large, so we are inclined to look at 3-putt avoidance to gauge who has been a decent lag putter in the past year. The main takeaways with these greens, though, is the speed, way slower than usual events, mostly related to being on the ocean and the level of salt in the air. You'll notice greens are often slower the closer the course is to the coast. Course history has proven to be really impactful at Kapalua. We won't be backing anyone making their first trip here in any capacity. Think some of them present fade opportunities, depending on the matchup. The main point is course history will feature heavily in our data. Lastly, we want to reward anyone who has played well in the fall. Much of the field has not played since late summer, which is not eliminating them from our consideration, but we would definitely prefer someone who has something more recent on their history. All right, let's get to the model analysis. For anyone interested in the full model, it can be found at ziggygolf.substack.com and edited as you see fit. We will link it as well, and you can always DM us for the link. We'll respond very quickly. That way you can play around with it however you want and see what the data shows. We would typically break the stats into different fit models, but for this tournament we won't, as we're just a bit light on relevant data, so instead we combined all into one score. Morikawa takes the top spot, not surprisingly. His history here is outstanding. 7th, 5th, 2nd, 5th in order. Only 5 trips. We started the week with him front of mind, but the odds are tough. If we could have bet him before Scotty's withdrawal, then we'd love to play. We believe Xander is a safe skip this week as we have 0 interest at 6-1 odds and might question how focused he is on winning this after the awesome year that he had last year. We look more towards guys who have something to prove in 2025 and showed signs of something turning around later in 2024. That perfectly sets up Justin Thomas. He also has a great history at Kapalua, 2 wins with many more trips than most of the field. We like what we have seen from him lately, too. The Hero is not a serious golf event, but JT led the field in driving distance that week and is showing huge increases in swing speed. That's exactly the type of blueprint that we would draw up for someone to back early in 2025. Of the other names in the top 10 above, Sungjae Im will be popular. Last year, he set the record for most birdies in a PGA event and almost won. Between him and JT, it's not even close who we would prefer, JT. Odds on Sungjae are too short for someone who has not closed out a win in years. We do like him in matchups, though, or single round bets. High floor here for him. JT Poston and Corey Connors have both have Chris Kirk vibes, who was last year's winner. I could make a case for either of them here, though our exposure will probably center on DFS for each of them. Instead, should we find one of them as plus odds in a matchup against a bigger name, that's likely a positive EV bet. All right, lastly, the moment you've all been waiting for. Here are our plays of the week. Justin Thomas outright winner and Justin Thomas top 10. We mentioned him previously, and we expect to mention him a lot this season. The swing speed is up, the approach back to solid, the wedge play never left. We know JT will miss some putts that will drive us insane when we watch, but we like him enough to make him our core bet this week. He's one of the few guys where we have seen his form in the past month, and he has a great history at Kapalua. Max Homa is outright winner. Max was an easy fade for most of 2024, the driver clearly broken. Towards the end of the season, he had a couple good showings, then led the field in approach during the President's Cup. We bet him in South Africa during the fall break, an event he often plays, and he led after round one before stalling out during the weekend. Point is that he could be on the improvement path, much like JT. Off the tee was his glaring issue in 2024 and just does not matter at this course, so we feel there's a lot less bust potential. Most appealing of this is the number. Max should not be longer than 60-1 in this field with his history. Random interesting tidbit too, Spieth's longtime caddy will be on Max's bag this week, although it's not a permanent change for either guy. Collin Morikawa, top 10. Morikawa has played this event 5 times and has never finished worse than 7th. The field is larger now, sure, but that's an insane run of finishes. We debated between Collin and JT as our outright pick, but both are outstanding finishing position plays as well. At slight plus odds, this is a great bet in our opinion, and we would play it down to minus 115 if you have limited outs. Akshay Bhatia, top 20. We were really close to betting Akshay outright. When it came down to it, though, the price was just a bit short to include both he and JT, so we had to make the call. However, we have high hopes for Akshay here and for most events of 2025. He's already won twice on tour, and he is only 22 years old. Really one of the brightest young stars. He has now seen Kapalua once last year, a 14th place finish. Then the past month, he has finished 4th at the Hero, 3rd at the Grant Thornton, and 2nd at a big event in Japan. Getting this number for a top 20 feels like a gift. Byung Hun An over Tony Finau. Benny An fits Hawaii courses really well. He finished top 10 in the Sentry and the Sony both last year. His form has remained fairly good, even if it dipped a bit since the start of 2024. This play, however, is mostly a fade of Finau. He's had some injury issues in the fall and constant rumors around where he'll tee it up next year. We expect to fade Finau for the first few events of the season, and we love starting it with Benny An. Sungjae Im over Ludwig Obug. Sungjae plays Kapalua really well. The low-scoring Bermuda courses have always been his best spots. Ludwig is undoubtedly the more talented golfer and will reach heights in his career that Sungjae has no chance of. However, Ludwig has only played here once, 47th last year, and we have minor concerns about how quick he rushed back from a knee issue this fall. This play is rooted in taking who we believe to have a much higher floor, even if the ceiling is a bit lower as well. Corey Connors over Hideki Matsuyama. Corey Connors is a really good play this week. We have some doubts on his ability to close out wins. Yes, we are aware he has won multiple times, but still so many close calls. The form and the style of play, though, is going to fit well. Like Sungjae, we think Connors has a really high floor. On the other side, we have no idea which Hideki shows up, as per usual. He often has started the year out slowly, so we are happy to take a shot on who we believe to be the more consistent guy. Sahith Theegala over Sam Burns. Sahith and Kapalua seem like a match made in heaven. He can spray his drives a bit and not be punished. Get some good chances to turn this into a putting contest. Burns kind of wants the same course, actually, and loves Bermuda, so we were hoping for a different option against Sahith. Burns does lack the good finishes at Kapalua that Sahith has, so we do think there's still value on this play at the number. If you do play this, though, please shop around. We saw Sahith as a small favorite outside of Caesars. Round 1 scores under X. Every year, the pros tear up Kapalua, and there is value in this market. Bet the under on any guy you want this week. Books will adjust for round 2, so the value is really only present when the lines get released initially. And lastly, our YOLO first round leader play, Akshay Bhatia and Sahith Theegala. Betting the FRL market is a negative EV proposition long term, so dial back your unit sizes if you play these bets. We know we'll be back to the real world by Thursday after all the holidays, We'll have no NFL, no college football games. So maybe sweating an FRL with some late night golf on Thursday is worth the small price of admission for these bets. Hopefully we can start the year in contention, ideally cash that outright. If anyone has questions on our plays, the model, or anything else in golf, please visit us at ziggygolf.substack.com and ask a question. We'll reply very quickly. You can also follow us, DM us, and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can with answers. As always, best of luck with all your bets, and thanks for listening to Ziggy Golf.